The average business wastes $100,000 per year on misaligned resources, and most leaders have no idea it's happening. Here's what that looks like. You hired someone 6 months ago because the team was overloaded, but now they're asking for more work because they're only busy 3 days a week. Meanwhile, your senior people are still working nights and weekends. You don't have a people problem. You have a resource allocation problem, and it's costing you in 3 connected ways. 1, no clear system for seeing where your capacity actually lies. 2, money locked into tools that nobody is using. And 3, capital directed towards the wrong bets. Individually, each of these is an inefficiency. Together, they form a compounding loop that quietly drains profitability, slows execution, and keeps good ideas from ever reaching the market. Today, we're going to look at what it actually is, the ecosystem problem, and we're going to give you a starting point for building something more system-driven. Businesses lose real money to misaligned resources, and the compounding effect over time can be the difference between a business that scales and one that stalls. That's the efficiency problem we're fixing in this episode. By the end, you'll have an immediate place to start. This is how you start changing how you look at resource allocation. Hi, I'm Summer, founder of Driven Connection, and we help eliminate inefficiencies that impact profitability, expansion, and people. Early in my career, I was managing Cisco hardware installations for enterprise clients. We had a small, capable team that was doing mission-critical work. I learned fast that if you don't have a clear picture of what you have, what's available, and what's already committed, plans collapse at the staffing layer, not the strategy layer. One project I took over required 3 senior engineers, and on paper, we had that capacity. But when the project kicked off, I found that 2 of those engineers were already over-allocated to existing clients, and the third was about to go on a planned leave. There wasn't an existing system in place to see the conflict until we were already well beyond Plan B or Plan C. We had to hire emergency contractors to avoid damage. That's when I realized it was a visibility problem. Resource decisions were based on incomplete information, and each downstream decision compounded the error. So we built a new system after that. Later, when I moved into Fortune 100 environments in fintech and supply chain, I saw the same pattern on a larger scale. A hiring decision in one department creates downward pressure on another. A capital investment in a platform nobody trains on becomes an OPEX drain and crowds out the real opportunities. What I've seen at every scale, from a 10-person agency to a global enterprise, is this. The organizations that grow have a system for seeing their resources clearly. The ones that struggle are making decisions from incomplete information. Every enterprise started as a small business. The fact you weren't formally trained in resource allocation discipline is a systemic gap in how business education works, and we're here to close it. Let's make this concrete in P&L terms, because resource allocation discipline isn't abstract. It lives inside your financial statements. Think of the P&L as your pipeline. Revenue enters at the top. Every layer of unnecessary costs, misallocated spend, or unfocused resource is a leak. Resource allocation discipline means patching those leaks so most of what enters at the top reaches profit at the bottom. When resources are misdeployed, people working on the wrong things, or tools that don't improve delivery, the cost to generate each dollar of revenue rises. Gross profit margin compresses. This is frequently the earliest financial signal that execution is deteriorating, and it's invisible until someone builds the system to look. Underused SaaS tools appear as operating expenses that deliver no output. When gross margins compress, the operating expenses don't adjust, operating income falls. A business with flat revenue can slide from profitable to unprofitable simply because resource allocation degraded without anyone noticing. Dynamic reallocators, which are companies that actively shift resources toward high-return opportunities, demonstrated a 10% compound annual return to shareholders over more than 2 decades. Companies with disciplined capital allocation deliver 30 to 50% higher returns on invested capital compared to peers. This is organizational design, and and how you achieve expansion without erosion, which is growing a business without burning your people. Let me show you how this inefficiency ecosystem works, because these three problems don't operate independently. They feed each other. Branch 1, no real resource management system. This is the nervous system of the problem. When you don't have a centralized, system-driven view of who is working on what, at what capacity, with what skill level, every resource decision degrades. 52% of organizations have no formal process for identifying or addressing resource capacity gaps. That means more than half of decision makers in growing businesses are operating without system-led visibility into one of the most important operational inputs. Without visibility, two predictable inefficiencies emerge. First, the same high performers get attached to every new initiative, while others are visibly underutilized. Second, leaders who buy more tools as a proxy for capacity. We're overloaded, let's get an efficiency tool, when the real fix is redeploying what they already have. That's the opposite of systematic integrity, where every part of your organization works together to pick up the pieces when one fails. Branch 2, overpaying for underused tools, which becomes a pain response when you can't see capacity clearly. And Branch 3, misaligned capital allocation. 40% of underperformance traces directly to poor capital allocation decisions. Here's what that looks like in practice. A mid-sized SaaS company has no resource allocation system. Branch 1, leadership couldn't see who was working on what. So when a new product initiative launched, they assumed the team was overloaded and brought a project management platform in to create efficiency. Branch 2. The tool cost $50,000 annually, but only 3 people used it because no one had time to train. Meanwhile, the real bottleneck was never the tool. It was that their senior engineers were split across 5 projects, while junior engineers were underutilized. When annual budgets come up, leadership can allocate another $200,000 to hire 2 more senior engineers, Branch 3, rather than redeploying the existing capacity. And that's the cycle. Branch 1 feeds Branch 2. Branch 2 constrains Branch 3. And Branch 3 reinforces the problem. Most people in decision-making positions were never formally trained in resource allocation, and it's the norm. Business education focuses on strategy, finance, and management, not on the operational discipline of matching resources to priorities in real time. The theory of constraints gives us useful professional logic here. Every system has exactly one primary constraint at any given time. Allocating resources to non-constraints does not improve throughput. Identify the bottleneck first, focus resources there, then reevaluate. Typically, resource allocation efforts fail because the people and the process change was treated as an afterthought. System-driven change requires designing the human layer alongside the operational layer, which brings us to today's activity, the capacity baseline. The capacity baseline is a structured one-time mapping of 3 things: who is working on what tools you're actually paying for, and what project and initiatives are active, ranked by strategic priority and expected return. PMI identified. PMI identifies this type of resource inventory as a foundational step from which resource management, portfolio alignment, and capacity planning all follow. Without this baseline, every other improvement is built on an assumption. With it, the 3 efficiencies in this ecosystem become visible, specific, and addressable, instead of felt and unnameless. Here's how to run it in 2 focused weeks with no new tools or outside spend. Step 1. Assign 1 person to own the audit. This is an internal function. Step 2. Use a shared spreadsheet or existing project management tool as a collection layer. You already have what you need. Step 3. Set a 2-week window with 1 defined output, 1 page per area: people, tools, and projects. Step 4. Map people first. Every person, every current assignment, expressed in rough percentage of time. This step alone surfaces who genuinely is overloaded versus who has available capacity. The result is frequently surprising. Step 5. Map tools. Every license, contract, and renewal date cross-referenced with actual usage data. This produces a list of tools to cut, consolidate, and renegotiate before the next renewal cycle. Step 6. Map projects. Every funded or informally running initiative ranked by strategic priority and expected return. When mapped against actual capacity, this reveals where initiatives can be staffed and which ones are running on wishful thinking. Step 7. Do not resolve anything during the audit. Your only job is to document what exists. The moment you start proposing solutions, people get defensive and the data becomes political. Diagnose first, solution second. Step 8. Share findings with the leadership team before any action is taken. Visibility alone often surfaces quick wins, and it makes trade-off decisions factual rather than political. The capacity baseline doesn't fix everything. It fixes visibility, and visibility is what turns resource allocation from a gut feel exercise into a system-driven discipline. Moving even one step forward produces immediate improvements in deliverable predictability. This week, pick one person to own it. Give them 2 weeks and a defined output. Start with people mapping. If you don't build visibility into how your resources are deployed, someone else will make those decisions for you. Market conditions, competitor moves, or the next crisis. You can design your resource allocation, or it can happen to you. You're learning, you're growing, and you're building a business where every resource is working hard on the right assignment. I'm Summer Ames Prodan, and we'll see you on the next installment of Driven Growth.